Hello and welcome. Today, we'll be exploring a critical topic: social media and its implications on Nigerian Army operations, the way forward. As social media becomes increasingly powerful, it plays a dual role in military operations, strengthening public relations, while also posing challenges like misinformation and data breaches. In this video, we'll examine both the opportunities and threats of social media, along with the strategic steps the Nigerian Army can take to stay ahead in the digital age. If you find these discussions important, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications to stay updated on future episodes. Share this video with your network because understanding how social media impacts security helps us all move forward as a nation. Let's dive right in.
Okay, so you hear all this stuff about how wars are fought online these days, right? And it sounds kind of crazy at first, but then you think about it, the Nigerian Army, they're dealing with some seriously heavy stuff, right? Boko Haram, all this unrest, it's all over the news.
Yeah, and it's not just about what's happening on the ground. It's about how it's being perceived, talked about, spun.
Exactly. It's the information war is just as important as the actual war. And that's what we're going to dig into today, this whole idea of the Nigerian Army using social media. We found this really interesting research paper, by the way. It's called Social Media and Its Implications on Nigerian Army Operations.
Oh, yeah, I saw that one. It's dense.
Yeah, dense is one word for it.
Yeah.
But super insightful, lays out how the Nigerian Army is using platforms like Twitter, Facebook, even WhatsApp. It's wild.
Well, it makes sense, though, right? I mean, if you're trying to reach people, especially young people, you got to go where they are. And these days, that's social media.
Totally. But it's not just about broadcasting their side of the story. They're using it for all sorts of things, like straight up PR, trying to build trust, show the human side of the Army, pictures of soldiers helping out in communities, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's all about shaping the narrative, right?
Mm.
Especially in a place where trust in institutions, especially the military, can be shaky. They're trying to counter all the negative stuff being put out there by groups like Boko Haram and IPOB.
It's like a digital tug of war for hearts and minds, basically.
Exactly. And they're using it for crisis management, too, which I think is really interesting. Like providing real-time updates during emergencies, reaching people in areas where traditional media might not be able to get to.
Right. Think about if there's a natural disaster or a terrorist attack, people are immediately turning to social media for information. So the Army being able to get accurate information out there quickly can be crucial.
Absolutely. And it's not just about reacting to events either. They're using social media proactively for things like recruitment drives, even just to share positive stories about the work they're doing.
It's all part of this bigger strategy of trying to build a stronger relationship with the public, showing that they're not just a faceless fighting force, but real people trying to keep their country safe.
Precisely. But, and this is where it gets really interesting, the paper doesn't just talk about the positives of social media. It also delves into the potential downsides, the risks involved in having your army online. And that's a whole other can of worms.
A can of worms. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Right.
It's like they're opening up this whole new battlefield, right?
Right.
And every soldier is a potential loose cannon.
Exactly. And the paper actually uses that old saying, loose lips sink ships. But in this case, it's more like loose tweets can derail an entire operation. They call it operational security risk, or OPSC, and it's a big deal. We're talking about soldiers accidentally revealing sensitive information online, stuff that could put lives at risk.
Okay, so give me an example. What kind of information are we talking about here?
Well, it could be anything, really. Troop movements, locations, even the layout of their base. The paper actually mentions a case where some soldiers posted selfies online, and because of geolocation tagging, they basically gave away their exact coordinates.
Oh, wow. I never even thought about that. See, this is why I need you here.
It's scary how easily it can happen. And it's not always intentional either. Sometimes soldiers just don't realize the potential consequences of what they're posting. They might mention something about their deployment or complain about their equipment, and boom, you've got a potential intelligence goldmine for the enemy.
So what can they even do about it? I mean, you can't exactly ban soldiers from using social media, can you?
No, you're right. That's not really feasible these days. But what they can do, and what the paper strongly recommends, is mandatory social media training for all personnel. Teach them about the risks, how to protect themselves, and how to use these platforms responsibly.
So social media boot camp. Sign me up.
Exactly. They need to make it clear that even a seemingly harmless post can have serious consequences. And it's not just about protecting themselves, it's also about the bigger picture, safeguarding the mission, their fellow soldiers.
Right, because one wrong tweet could jeopardize an entire operation. It's a huge responsibility.
It is, and it's not just about what they're posting themselves. They also have to deal with the constant barrage of misinformation and fake news that's circulating online.
Oh, yeah, that's the other thing, right? It's like a digital minefield out there.
Exactly. And the Nigerian army is a prime target for this kind of stuff. We're talking about doctored videos, fake news stories, all designed to discredit them, sow discord among the public, and ultimately undermine their operations. It's a constant battle to stay ahead of it.
It's like they're fighting on two fronts, the real world and the digital world, and the lines are getting blurrier all the time. It's overwhelming to think about, honestly. How do they even begin to tackle that?
It's definitely a challenge, no doubt. The paper talks about this, how the Nigerian army is caught in this kind of double bind. They need social media to combat these narratives, but then being on social media opens them up to a whole new world of problems.
Right, like a vicious cycle almost.
Yeah, and there are no easy answers, but the paper does offer some potential solutions, some steps the army can take.
Okay, so what, like they just need to hire a bunch of tech guys and call it a day? What's the solution here?
Well, it's more nuanced than that. Technology is definitely part of it, of course. Cybersecurity is huge, making sure their systems are secure, their communications are protected, all of that.
Right, because the last thing they need is to get hacked and have sensitive information leaked that way.
Exactly. But it's not just about building digital walls. It's about fostering a culture of awareness.
So back to the social media boot camp idea.
Yeah, exactly. Education and training are key. They need to be
Yeah.
drilling this stuff into their soldiers from day one. What to post, what not to post, how to spot fake news, all of it.
It's like they need to be as savvy about the digital battlefield as they are about the physical one.
100%. But it goes beyond just the soldiers themselves. The Army as an institution needs to be more transparent, more open in its communications.
More open. But how does that square with the need for secrecy, for operational security?
It's a delicate balance for sure, but the more open they can be about their operations, within reason, of course, the less likely people are to believe the rumors and disinformation being spread about them.
So it's about building trust, basically. Showing the public that they have nothing to hide.
Exactly. And part of that is showing the human side of the Army, putting a human face on the organization.
Right, like we were talking about earlier, showing the soldiers as real people, not just faceless fighting machines.
Yeah, exactly. It's about connecting with people on a human level, building empathy and understanding. Because at the end of the day, that's what's going to win hearts and minds.
This has been fascinating. It's, like you said, no easy answers, but it's a conversation that's definitely worth having. It really highlights the fact that we're all living in this digital age now, and the lines between the online world and the real world are more blurred than ever.
Absolutely. It's uncharted territory in a lot of ways, and the Nigerian Army's experience with social media is a case study in how complex and challenging it can be to navigate this new landscape.
Well, on that note, we'll leave it there for today. Thanks for joining us for another deep dive, and until next time, stay curious.
Thank you for joining this in-depth discussion on social media and its implications on Nigerian Army operations, the way forward. If you found this conversation insightful, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. We want to hear from you. Use the comments section to suggest the next topic or book you'd like us to explore. And don't forget to share this podcast or video with your network, because addressing the intersection of social media and security is key to building a safer, more informed nation. See you in the next episode.